Welcome to the Social Stack, your go-to channel for marketing tips based in technology for your real estate business. I'm Amy Stack, and today we are talking about 5 tips to beat the social media algorithm to help you stand out over others. So I'm going to go ahead and get my screen shared today. And can everybody see that okay?
Yes.
Move all the way over there. I want to see your faces. I'm moving you over here. All right, perfect. So the first thing I want to do is talk a little bit about what an algorithm is. Does anybody know? I actually have the definition pulled up, so I'll read it to you when we're done. But does anybody know what that algorithm is? No? Okay.
It is a mathematical formula that is able to take the different variables and do a prediction based on those variables.
Yeah, there's lots of different algorithms out in the world, right, Patty?
Mm-hmm.
And this one that we're talking about today is specifically for social. Every platforms is a little different, but this is like, if you Google social media algorithm, this is basically what you're finding. I'm just gonna read it to you. Read it to you. Okay, and social media algorithms help maintain order and assist in ranking search results and advertisements. On Facebook, for example, there's an algorithm which directs pages and content to display in a certain order. These algorithms encourage social media users to submit relevant, high-quality content and engage with consumers, which is a good thing, right? You guys don't want to be scrolling through your social media and getting a whole bunch of stuff that's not relevant to you. So the social media platforms want to promote content that people are interested in because it's going to keep them, those people on their platform longer, right? So then they can put more advertising in front of them and get more money. You guys see how this works? So if you're putting content out there that people are interacting with and coming back to your page to see, then the social media algorithms are going to help keep pushing you up in front of more people and the same people that are constantly clicking on your stuff to get you in front of them again. Okay. Oh, that was my sample algorithm. You like my picture there? All right, so the first tip I want to talk to you about is engage. And you guys all see the people on their little phones, right? Make sure I shared the right screen today. Okay, perfect. So there's a couple of things you want to do to get people to engage on social media. The first thing you want to do is make sure you're doing the right stuff before you post. Did you guys know there's stuff you should be doing before you post to help beat that algorithm? All right, I want you to write this down. It's real simple. You want to follow the rule of 5. So 5, 5, 5, okay? 5 minutes, 5 people, 5 words or more. That's pretty simple to remember, right? So like I said, social media, the way that algorithm works is it shows you content related to things that you've liked or interacted with in the past. So it thinks you're going to be more likely to stay on and active by doing things that works for you and your viewers as well. So when you're posting things that your viewers like, we talked about this a little bit, but when you're posting things that are close, similar to things that your viewers like, it's going to suggest it to them because it's similar content. So if people are thinking of buying or selling homes, what might they be searching for that could fall into something you would want to talk about?
Financing.
Yeah, exactly. So they might be looking up information about loans. So if you're providing some information about different loan policies or that interest rates just took a little dive, that's going to be relevant to what they were looking at. So that's more likely to get in front of your viewers. So where that 5, 5, 5 comes into play is 5 minutes before you post, comment on 5 other posts with at least 5 words or more. If you really want to take it to the next level, reach out to people in private messages and talk to the people or comment on the people's posts that you haven't talked to in a long time, because the social media system is going to see that now me and Mark have had a connection. And because we chatted back and forth, when Mark posts something, it's like, oh, well, they were just talking. Maybe Amy wants to see what Mark just posted. Does that make sense to everybody? Mm-hmm. So 5, 5, 5, 5 minutes, 5 people, 5 words. You want to use 5 words or more because You don't want to just be like, great, yes, so cool, right? You want to make it not seem like it's not seem. You do want to have an actual good interaction, but the social media algorithms won't count something less than that because they think you're just like, okay, great, like I'm just posting this to put a word out on social media, right? You want to actually have some more content than that.
And that is in addition, or it doesn't count emojis, right? As far as words.
As far as I know, that is correct. You don't want to, so I know I'm a big person when it comes to doing this. I like to just post like GIFs or like Bitmojis. So that stuff doesn't usually count. You want to put some words with it. So you can put your picture, but then also say, happy birthday, I hope it's a great one, right? So then you've got a little sentence and you got a fun little picture. So because people are probably more likely to interact with an actual phrase versus just a picture. Make sense? Okay, perfect. And then, like I said, if you're looking to grow your following reach to people you haven't recently connected with, make sure that you're going out on pages of people that you haven't talked to recently. Or if you're already friends with them, you can talk to them through Messenger or direct message on Instagram and shoot them a message there. And then they'll be more likely to see your content when, assuming they're responding to you. So that's about before. Any thoughts about what you guys should do after you post?
I got a question for before.
Sure.
To access that list of people, I might have friended people, over the last 10 years and forgot all about them. How do I look up some people I've friended?
So depending on the platform you're on, the button will be in a different spot and called a different thing. But like on Instagram, you'll have followers or people following you. On Facebook, you'll have friends, stuff like that. LinkedIn, it's connections. But usually all of them have a spot where you can go to see like, who are your connections? Who are you friends with? And it's just going to pull up a whole list. And you'll see right there, oh, I haven't talked to John Smith in a long time. Let's send him a message, or let's click on his profile, see what he's been up to, and go leave a comment on something he's posted recently. Like, looks like he had a great fishing trip. Wish I caught one like that. Whatever, just something little, right? Doesn't have to be real estate related. All right.
I actually have a question about that. I'm sorry.
Yes, go for it.
So what if you're posting on a business page?
Mm-hmm. So you can interact as a business. Somebody would have to be connected with you to do that. Or you can interact with, so to have a business page, you have to have a personal profile. So you can interact as a personal profile too, because it's still linked to the business.
Okay, so even if the personal is doing these commenting on the 5 different posts, it would still.
Yeah, it'll still help. It's not going to be as strong of a push as if you're doing a personal post and a personal interaction, but it's going to help because it's all linked to the same account.
Perfect.
And especially if the person you're talking to has liked your business page, which again, you can go see from your business page, everybody that's liked it, you can get that whole list. That's already sort of a connection there, not sort of, they're already connected to the page. So that's going to help push up that algorithm too, if you target those people.
Okay.
Good question. All right, any more questions? Yes.
Should you be doing this interaction, this engagement every day?
Every time you're posting, but yes, it's a good habit to get into. If you just time block like 15 minutes a day to go reach out to people, that's great, even if you're not posting, but definitely do it before you post. Yeah. All right. So for after posting, what happens? You just post your thing and walk away and never go look at it again?
Yes.
Okay. I think a lot of people do that. So if you want to get past that algorithm or get in front of more people, you don't want to just post and ghost. You need to make sure that you're setting aside time to make and respond to any comments. So make comments and respond to comments. So anything that anybody's left on yours or reply to any messages that you've received. So not all posts are going to receive comments, but you still want to go check and see that if there are any out there, you're responding. And again, 5 words is ideal. However, a response is better than no response at all, right? So I think that one's pretty straightforward, but does anybody have questions about the after?
Liking or loving the post doesn't count as responding, right?
Correct. Now, that said, that doesn't mean you don't want to hit like or heart, because who doesn't like seeing, you know, when your clients are scrolling through their social, they went, oh, Patty liked my post or my comment, right? But if you actually go and put the time in, put some words, you can put a little picture with it, that's going to give you more of a boost than just hitting the like or love or whatever button, the reaction buttons. All right. And then obviously it's better for the person who you comment, like, so you made a post, somebody commented, it's best for that person who commented if you're replying sooner rather than later. But as you know, a reply, like I said, is better than never replying at all. So just depending on how often you're posting, I know some people do like 3 days a week. So just do your 5 minutes before you post, and then that evening go check it. So at least you're doing something. Don't leave it just hanging out there, especially if somebody's asking you a question. You don't want to seem like you're unresponsive, because if you're not responding then why would they think you would be any different in your business, right? That's not necessarily an algorithm thing, but you just don't want to give people that bad taste that you're not responding to them. All right, you guys ready for your next tip? That was one. That was like a twofer. All right, your next tip is to have quality content. I know this is like the kicker, right? Everybody's like, well, duh, I want quality content. How do I do that? Any thoughts? I'll give you a hint, they're on the screen. Why do we want to tell a story? Anybody have any, I just said any thoughts, but I'm gonna say it again. Any thoughts on how that could help your social media posts?
So people feel like they can relate to you.
Exactly. Anybody have an idea on how you could apply that to something in the real estate world that makes, you know, it actually relates to your business versus just, you know, I went for a walk with my dog?
I went on a walk with my dog to a new house that has come on the market in the area.
Perfect. Another thing that I think is super easy and common for people to do is they'll put up a picture and say just closed or for sale, right? And they'll just put a little bit of information about the house and leave it. So instead of just saying just closed, you could post a picture of the house. You can talk about what obstacles you or your clients had to overcome, just kind of explain that journey, share that client's overall goal, how you played a role in achieving it, or what new opportunities that new property has brought into their life. So I know some people like to work with senior citizens, right? So what could come into play when you're looking for a new home for a senior citizen? I know ranches are real popular, first floor masters, right? Maybe a 55 and up community. So that could really narrow the scope of what people are looking for. So how did you provide that service to get them that home, but bring in those elements of what it's not necessarily an obstacle, but, you know, specifics to their journey, because if it happened to them, it's probably going on with somebody else that's in your target market too. And they can easily see how you can help navigate that and help them with their next home purchase or sale as well. I see we have a hand up.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you.
That's okay.
Thank you. I was curious, I've heard people say that posting pictures of people's faces improves the algorithm, and I am guilty of just putting the property and the design. And I'm wondering if that is true, that the faces will improve the algorithm.
You know, I don't know one way or the other, and it might depend on the platform. I don't want to lie and say, yes, it's this, and just hope that's right. So I think personally that putting people in the picture is better because it gets more traction, right? Obviously, pretty houses, we're lucky that people like to look at that stuff. But if you have a picture of somebody that's really happy holding their, like, my new home or my first home or just sold, you know, something like that, that actually was a great question, because it leads me into the next tip, which is to evoke emotion. So that's why a lot of times you will get more traction with people's faces, because their face tells a story without even saying anything. So part of what you want to do when you're working on your quality content is to evoke emotion. So make them laugh, pull at their heartstrings, like have a picture of the family, you know, walking into their new home and the kid playing with the dog or running into the backyard or something. That's exciting, right? So that's something that will help as well. I see we have another hand. No?
Hey, Amy.
I was like, I think David has his hand up, but it was just your picture, not your face. What's going on?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Oh, sorry. My Zoom was set to the wrong mic. I'm sorry. I just wanted to bring up a comment. I think it was Barbara asked about the pictures.
Yeah.
There is another way that the photos can increase your algorithm. It's because Facebook uses facial recognition.
Mhm.
They have been using that for a few years now. And a lot of times, like you might have even gotten this personally when like in your Facebook log, where it says, we believe this is you in a photograph. And if it is, you can tag yourself. So if there are people in there that are actually on your friends list or that Facebook recognizes and asks them for that and gets a tag, it increases the exposure of that post as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So with Facebook specifically, and I think Instagram might be doing that as well now, they do use that facial recognition software. So that would help get you in front of people that you are connected to already. And David's 100% right that when you are a person that's in a picture and your face pops up in it, Facebook's gonna be like, oh, I think, you know, your name will show up to the person who posted it saying, hey, you should tag Amy Stack, right? And then obviously if you are tagging people, I would get an alert that you tagged me. So that's also helping get more eyes on the post. And then I'm more likely to go see it and share it and spread the word some more. So there's lots of different things that go into it. But having those personal pictures of actual clients is good because you're probably already connected to them. If we're thinking just general pictures that maybe it's not about a specific person, then you can find some great stock photos online with people in them as well that will help with the emotion and telling the story. So there's two sides to that coin. Great point. Thanks, David. The next tip I have about your quality content is to give value. So we touched on this a little bit already. But you know, your viewers internally, they're thinking, can you help me? Do you care about me? Can I trust you? So you want to help provide content that's going to answer those questions for them. They don't care that I have a dog, right? They don't care that I like fishing, unless they do too, but not everybody's on the same page as far as hobbies. So how can you provide service to them? What can you do for them? It's not about me. It's about client. How can you provide value to your client? So make sure you're giving some value in your content as well. And we talked about that with the senior, I guess not demonstration, sample, whatever that I gave you, example, where you're showing, you know, these are things that seniors typically have to overcome or consider when they're in a transaction. And this is how I helped serve that client and how we were able to meet those goals despite these things going on, right? Or navigate that situation. And that goes back to, if you guys have been on my classes in the past, I always talk about riches are in the niches. So that's very helpful. If you have a niche, you will become known as the go-to person for that thing. And it'll just be able to be easier for you to attract that same type of client. And then your knowledge base, instead of knowing a lot about a few things, you'll go really deep on one thing. And it'll just be easier for you to navigate your business and attract people in that same target audience. Questions about giving value? We like to say to come from contribution. So that's a good way to put that. All right, so my last thing on this slide is to encourage interaction. So this is something you do want to be careful about on how you're saying things. You don't want to say click here or, you know, drop a line, stuff like that. You got to be careful at how you phrase it. Like, don't say leave a comment, because Facebook specifically, probably the other platforms too, are going to think you're just fishing for people to interact with you. So you want to ask who else they know that would love the local shop that you visited, or take a poll on which kitchen they would like to cook in more, right? Tell them to share something relatable that happened to them in the comments. So that's all different ways to get them to interact with your post without saying, hey, leave a comment. But it all ties back to your business too. Any other thoughts on how you could engage somebody around your business through a post?
I know for me on my Instagram pages, when I do my this or that's, I always, it's so funny how many people like come out and they put their opinion in there. I always get really high interaction on the this or that's in real estate.
And do you do that on, so since you answered, I'm going to dig in. Do you do that on your regular feed or your stories, or where do you put that?
So I kind of have a mix of on Instagram mostly, and then I have it tied to my Facebook business page. So I get interactions from both, but mostly Instagram.
Yeah. And then there's different feeds you can do too. Sometimes I'll put in Instagram, I'll put in my actual feed, I'll just have like a static image, but then in my stories, I'll do some more, the more interactive stuff. And those, when people reply to that, it goes directly to your direct message. So if they reply or commented on it, you get a personal chat started with them, which is a nice feature too. David, what's your question or comment?
One thing I've seen lately, Amy, is a lot of people, especially on Instagram, probably more than anywhere else, in the stories, people are doing a lot of what's called this or that. I'm sure you've seen that, where they literally just have either a photo on the top and bottom or side by side, and they give you a couple of choices. And it's literally just like a fun thing to see what your preferences are. Like, do you love ketchup? Do you love mustard? Are you into hot dogs or hamburgers? Or do you like this kitchen with a bench, or, you know, this one with an island in it? And they mix in some real estate stuff. So
yeah, and there's, like you said, it's not always real estate related, like ketchup or mustard, right? But it's a
I think the fun stuff gets the interaction going.
Exactly.
And then when you slide in either at the end or mix it up a little bit with some real estate stuff, you get the more interactivity.
You're 100% right. And sometimes you can do those things that seem like they have nothing to do with real estate and then tell a story later and tie it back in. So if you can do that, great. If not, just getting that engagement and interaction up. Like if you feel like your numbers have been low, your analytics have been down, then doing some of those just fun, unrelated ones could be a good way to get that interaction up. So because the more people are commenting, the more people will see it. Because so like if David posts something and nobody comments, maybe I don't know the actual numbers, but we'll say maybe 10 people see it organically. But then if David posts and I comment, then my friends will see Amy commented on David's post. So now another 10 people will see it, right? So every little interaction you get is going to spread to that person, whoever interacted with you, it's going to spread to their connections as well. So that's why sometimes the ones that aren't even related to real estate are a good way to just bring those interactions up, because that's going to tie back to what we said at the beginning, where when you are putting out content that's getting interactions, it's going to be more likely to be boosted by the algorithm. That make sense? All right. Let's go on to our third tip. Oh, I lied. Second half of the second tip. All right, so we talked about a couple of things for quality content, but you also want to match your story. So when you are making your graphics, make sure that they make sense with the story that you're telling, right? So you don't want to have a picture of a house if you're talking about like the loan process. I mean, I guess you could have a house, but that's not as exciting as maybe seeing like a bag of money in front of a house, or, you know, like a credit card, and like how that all relates, right? Just make sure that they make sense together. Or if you're talking about a first-time homeowner, maybe don't have a picture of like a family, because typically first-time homeowners are probably like 1 or 2 people. Maybe they don't have a home, you know, a family yet. That doesn't mean that families aren't ever first-time homeowners, but typically that's, you know, a younger audience. So tie it into making it match your the story that you're telling. And always, of course, now that I'm saying this, keep in mind fair housing, right? You don't want to exclude anybody or anything like that. So just make sure you're paying attention to your vernacular, I guess, in your copy, right? We don't want to get in trouble. The other part of this quality content with your story in your images is that you don't want any more than 20% of your image to have text on it. The algorithms don't like that. You want your text to be in where you write it out in the post. So like this slide that we're looking at would not be a good picture to put on social media. However, this one that says welcome home, that's less than 20% of the picture, right? This one that says start messy, that's not a lot of words, it's a lot of imagery. So that's what you want to go for. And then somebody's gonna be like, start messy, what does that mean? And your post should explain what's going on in the picture then. Does that make sense? And then this is a good reminder that I said earlier that your images can help evoke that emotion as well. So like this one, this girl looks super happy. Obviously they're moving in the house and she's excited to be at their new place, right? Do you guys get like the, oh, look, tender, warm snugglies, right? Oh, Patty's got her hand up.
When you're talking about 20% text, and then you said with the start messy, that is imagery. When is text and when is text imagery?
No, this is still text. The start messy is still text. I'm just saying it's not 20% of the
Okay.
graphic, because we've got all this stuff behind it, right? There's a kind of looks like a splash of paint back there, but it's mostly image versus text. Same
Okay.
thing.
But Amy,
Does somebody have a question?
yeah,
Yeah, go for it.
start messy to me reads like a graphic.
Mhm.
I see the word start and I would say, yeah, that's 20%. Sure, let it go. I have a hard time looking at the blobs, the scratches, the whatever it is underneath, and seeing the word messy because of the fonts and the colors that have been chosen. Is that machine going to read that as MESSY, or is it going to read that as a JPEG image?
Oh, I see what you're saying. So I'm not, I don't know how it recognizes when there's text or not. I'm just assuming that if there's text on it, it's smart enough to know that messy is text versus a picture of a face or a house. They're pretty advanced these days, especially with like, if they're doing facial recognition for people, like clearly that's not a person, right? I mean, obviously you could have pictures of lots of other things, but they are all JPEGs or PNGs. They're not layered. They're not like, these aren't Adobe, they're not vector files or EPSs or anything like that. So they are all flat images, but they just have text on them. It's also good to have less than 20%, just because they can get really busy if you have too much text on it, and then it's hard to read everything. Sometimes the font ends up really small. So that's just for ease for your clients to see, your viewers, right? To be able to get a better grip on what's going on in the post and in the graphic.
That's important also with, depending on what your niche is, because seniors
Yes.
are not going to react the same as a millennial would to the start messy, for
Yeah.
example.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm naming all of my kids Patty. That was funny.
Thank you, I think.
Yeah. And then I was giving you some examples of like contracting images, but like one example, not real estate related, is at one point in time, I should have saved the ad. I'm sorry, I didn't. I saw an ad for a one of those food companies that you can buy the food, like they do the grocery shopping and like meal prep type of things, right? And it comes to your house. And the ad was talking all about how they have fresh vegetables and there's all this great stuff. And the picture was a bowl of fruit. And I was like, that's not what this is talking about. That doesn't make any, I mean, yeah, it's food, but fruit and vegetables, two different worlds here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's just an example for you. All right. So my third tip is to use video. Oh, we're going a little long today. We had lots of good questions. Are you guys okay to go over a little bit?
Yeah.
That's okay. All right. My third tip is to use video. So there's an overabundance of content on any given platform, right? And in the world of content, video is king. So the content you're posting needs to stop the scroll, right? Video is going to help give you that extra edge. People are scroll all day long. So how do you stand out in that scroll? Video is going to help do that. Okay. So it's easier than you think. You can animate graphics in something like Canva Pro. If you have the Pro account, you can do some extra animations with it. If you guys are interested, oh, I missed some chats. I'm sorry. I just saw those come in. I'm going to put my Canva link in the chat. So if you guys are interested in that Pro account, you can go ahead and check that out there. But you can take a graphic like that Start Messy one we were talking about was just text. but you can make the text like dance or drop in, kind of like in a PowerPoint presentation. So that, just that alone is going to help add an extra element versus having just a static photo. Then you can also go live while you're doing things, and it doesn't have to be perfect, just relatable, right? You don't have to be like high production quality. Just going live and going on a video or doing that video, whether it's TikTok or Instagram, you know, Facebook has Facebook Live as well. That's going to help give that when somebody's looking through everything. Oh, somebody's, you know, talking live. And I know on Facebook, when you go live, people get a little alert saying Patty's live, right? So that's another way to help get in front of people again. But you can share multiple clips from one long video. So let's say you do an interview with a lender or an attorney, or, you know, something about what's going on in the industry right now. You can take little snippets of that one video and share them at different times. So then you have one really long one. And like maybe you're on YouTube, you put the long one on YouTube and you just put like a couple minute segment onto LinkedIn and say, for the rest of this video, like go check out my YouTube channel. You could do like a 30-second teaser on Facebook or Instagram, right? Something like that. So that's another way you can use video. And then people aren't, I just want to put this out here for you guys that are like, oh, I'm scared to do video. People aren't looking for perfect robots, right? You can use your phone, show your flaws, your true personality. It's going to make you much easier to approach. They want to see somebody that they would feel comfortable talking to on the street. If you come off as, and there's nothing wrong with people that have great high production, but it doesn't mean that it's always the best way to go, right? You guys, you are good enough just as you are. You just got to start doing it. That's all. That's the only obstacle. You got to get over yourself, right? Just go do a live video, or if you really don't want to go live, you can pre-record it and post it. But that when you go live, because you're doing it within the platform you're going live on, it's going to want to promote that versus posting a link with the video or embedding a video, because it knows that you're using the whichever, like, so on YouTube you can go live or you can upload videos. On Facebook, same thing. So if you do it live from the platform, the algorithm sees that you're using its own systems and technology, so it's going to push its lives over something that you're adding just a link to or uploading a file to. So that's
So is that what they mean by organic?
Yes. Yep, absolutely. And then I do have a couple videos on using video in marketing, so you guys can check those out on my channel too, and I'll link them to this class as well. All right. See, and we got different examples here of the girl using the tripod, or somebody just, you know, shooting from the opposite side. Go ahead, David.
Hey, Amy, just wanted to remind everybody too, I've seen some agents that were kind of reticent to actually do a live video because of this. But when you do a live video on Facebook and on Instagram, you can actually download that video, download the actual native video file, yes, so that you can repurpose it. So even if you go live on Facebook, I could download the video and then upload that to my Instagram and my LinkedIn. So I've got some consistency across my social media channels.
Yeah, if you guys are on multiple platforms, absolutely reuse that content. And you don't have to put exactly the same video on everything. Like I said, have that long one, break it up into little snips, put the snips in different platforms. If you're only on one platform, then you don't have to worry about all that stuff. You can grow into that later. But if that sounds like something you want to do, go for it. And then Taylor, I see you had a question. What kind of video content do you find people respond well to or are interested in? Is anybody on here using video right now?
Oh my gosh, go watch Ken Pozak on YouTube if you don't know about video content. He's a KW agent in Orlando, and he does everything. It's not, half of it is even real estate related. Yeah. He's literally just like become the guru of Orlando, whether it's restaurants, amusement parks, I mean, everything. So we've got a couple agents here in our office that I just adore because they've been doing things like how to, you know, spring clean your cabinets in your kitchen, or how to install, you know, shelving or whatever. And they're almost becoming like HGTV, you know, stars locally. Again, it's not real estate per se, but it is related to real estate. So yeah.
Yeah, those are all great examples. I have an agent here who is also a firefighter, and he is very passionate about helping people in that industry build wealth through real estate. So he talks about that a lot. I also have agents that do like what David was just talking about with Orlando, where they'll talk all about what's going on in their neighborhood. So fun things to do, school rankings, events that are coming up, and just get really well known for that area. Kinga, I think it's Ken Pozak. I don't know how to spell it though, but he's in Orlando. It's a good channel. Karen Carr is another good one. I think she's Georgia. Carr with 2 R's, I believe, Carr. She's another really good one for ideas on that. And oh, David put the link in. Thanks, David. And you can do, that distracted me. What else was I was going to say? So about the town, oh, whatever you're passionate about, tie that in, right? So we were talking about, kind of like DIY stuff that is related to real estate. So if that's something you like doing, like I just redid my whole house, do a little video about the projects you're working on and put that out there. Tips on, winterizing or spring cleaning or curb appeal, like that's all great stuff. And then don't forget about your local businesses and your allied partners. Do interviews with lenders, attorneys, inspections, like what to look out for when you're thinking of selling your home from the inspection side of things. What do they run into the most that people need to fix? Well, let's get ahead of it, right? That's a great value to provide to people. So don't forget about those guys either. All right, that was a lot about video. Sorry, I got excited.
Amy?
Yeah.
Talking about local merchants and stuff. I have a guy, he has a terrific pet grooming thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And I thought, people move to town, they've got pets. Let's come in and do like 5 minutes on, hey, you can get your pet washed, you can wash them yourself. Mm-hmm. Have an exercise and playroom. All of this, right? And I don't want to say he got hostile, but it was like, wow, he wants, like final cut approval, like he's some kind of SAG director or something, I can understand him being precious with his business and wanting to, be careful with how he comes off in the media and stuff. But I don't want to be nearly that formal. How do I get this guy on my side?
So there's a few different ways to go about it. You guys can talk to the people before you do a recording and see if they want to do like an actual interview, right?
Yeah.
And if they agree, that's great. Or maybe they don't want to be on camera, or if you don't want to do an actual interview and you just want to talk about the company, you can just go outside in front of the shop and say your 2 cents, right? And show it like in the background, or turn your camera around, right? And then they're not really involved with it, but you're still able to feature their business and tag them later. And you can also just remind him that you're coming from contribution. You're a one-man show if that's the case, right? And you just want to help promote his business and grow awareness. And this is what you're capable of doing. And if he would prefer that you don't do it, then that's his own choice, but you're giving him some free advertising, right? So if he wants, high quality production level stuff, well, then maybe he's going to have to pay for high quality producers, right? There's nothing wrong with showing, just like a selfie video or a cell phone video. That's all you need to get started. So it's just having that conversation with them.
Thank you.
Then, that brought me to one other thing, is that I do work with a few people that will feature a local business every month, and the business will do a discount if they, drop your name. And then that person's always going to remember that you brought in all that business. So they're going to be more likely to give you referrals in the long run. Yeah, go ahead, David.
Yeah, Amy, you know what I heard Mark just say? Collaborate, collaborate, collaborate.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic opportunity. We just had our monthly office meeting yesterday, and there were after that we did a mastermind with some of our top agents, and they were talking about all the unique ways that they add value to their clients. One of them has a golf cart they go around. Another one literally gets an ice cream truck and goes into the neighborhood, or a taco truck and things like that. To me anyways, whether, regardless of how the conversation started, it sounded like it didn't start out on a good note, but you could turn that into a good note, have a discussion with them and just say, hey, you know, I do feature local businesses, you know, just to even bring them up. So if I were to give you a choice, is there a certain product or service you would like me to feature when I talk about you guys? Or
Yeah.
just like Amy said, those discount codes are fantastic. And that's definitely value that you can add to your clients. I'm an MCTT like Amy. I'm not a licensed agent, but I do have a travel side business. I do stuff like that with local restaurants or remote restaurants all the time. They love getting that exposure. Like Amy said, it's free advertising for them. So I couldn't imagine why anybody would ever get upset about it.
Yeah, and then once you have a couple, you can always use them as an example, like show somebody as you approach them to talk to them. These are some I've done in the past. So then they already know what type of, like, the quality of your content that you're putting out there.
Okay, sure. That makes a lot of sense. Let me fill up my channel with a whole bunch of, you know, raised plumbing and heating and, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah,
And then go back and see this guy. Okay. All right. Thank you.
he'll bite. And then when he does, you send us the link. We'll all go watch it.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna go on to my fourth tip, and that is timing. So you wanna whoops, we're jumping the gun here. You wanna make sure that that amazing content you're curating doesn't just fizzle out, right? Because maybe you posted it at the wrong time of day, or you're posting too many things too fast. So every platform and audience is going to be a little different. So you want to make sure that you're doing your research on best practices, or that you hire somebody to do it for you. So I know we're all at different points in our business, right?
Yeah.
So for frequency, some good starting points if you guys are just starting out, and for the platforms like Instagram and Facebook, you're going to want to do 1 post a day to get started. You can do more than that, but that's a good starting point. And then you can include posts in your stories, or that can just be a cherry on top. So like if you're saying I want to do 1 post a day, and I'm going to do 1 post on my page today and 1 post on my story tomorrow, that's fine. Just to get started, you can absolutely do a post on your page and in your story the same day. That's totally fine. We talked a little bit about video. So if you're looking to get into YouTube, a good place to start for YouTube is 1 video a week. And that's just because there's a little bit more to producing a video than there is for, you know, putting a post out on social. And with YouTube, you don't want your video to compete with your video, right? People that are going to come look at your channel are probably going to be looking for the other things also on your channel. So you want to get 1 video out there, let it get seen, and then put another one out there that those same people are going to want to come back and look at. So YouTube's a little bit of a different animal when it comes to the algorithms. And I see we have another question. Go ahead.
Yeah, my question was, about posting daily. What do you think about the automated posting services? I mean, there's several of them out there. I think Homekeeper, you know, some of those. What do you think about them? I'm trying to use them and mix them in with my own content. I have a lot of like Rob Report. So just curious your opinion.
Good question. So same thing for the auto posting and third-party scheduling services. Like if you're using one outside of your platform, they're definitely not quite as strong, but they are way better than nothing. So if you're really struggling to get content out there, getting that going is a good place to just start building that consistency, which is actually my next tip, is to be consistent. And yeah, so that was a good question.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then, Mark, did you have another question?
Yeah, I don't know. How important is this really? Because maybe I've been using Facebook wrong for 15 years, but I don't go through it and say, oh my God, this post is from Satterfield from Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock. I'm not going to waste my time read it. I go through it, you know, page after page after page until I find something. Oh, I saw that yesterday. And then I know I'm done, you know?
So that's a great question. The thing about that is that even though you're going through and you're seeing, okay, I went through and now I'm finally at yesterday's content, you're not seeing everything that was posted on Facebook for every single page that you like or person that you're connected with.
Right.
So if you, as a business owner, you have access to Facebook Analytics, or I I think it's insights on Instagram. I always mix them up. Everybody calls them something different, but insights, analytics, all of that stuff. You'll be able to see, you can track, and this is like next level. If you are just starting out, get your stuff out there. The general times are going to be, you can see in this little graphic here, we've got some good general time frames to get started, and that's great. You want to do when people are, when do you pull out your phone to look at stuff? In the morning when you wake up, on your lunch break, after dinner, when you're going to bed, right? Those are the times you want to target to get those posts out there if we're just starting to get ready. If you're already at that point and you're like, okay, I've got this going, now I want to take it to the next level. That's when you go take a look at your analytics, see what days you're getting the most content, what types of posts are getting the most interaction, what time frames people are on a lot, because everybody's audience is different, right? Your senior citizens are going to be on at a different time of day than your millennials.
Yeah.
So that's where you want to get it going so that the analytics are all starting to track and ramp up. And then once you're ready to take it to that next level, go look at those analytics and see, is 3 posts a day, are they all getting seen? No? Okay, well, I'm going to back it down to 2 posts a day, right? That type of thing. Same thing with time frame and the type of content. You're always going to see that videos get the most interaction, and like people stories are going to get a lot of interaction too. So that's why those interviews and local business partnerships are going to do really good for your channels. Yeah, David, go ahead.
Hey, Mark, I hate to say this and get on the aggressive side here, but one thing I always remind our agents is we work for Facebook. We work for the social media channels. The algorithms are there to help them. They're not, honestly, they're not there to help us. It's there to help them put the most popular content out there to continue to get audiences driven and attracted to whatever the most popular content is. So the great thing about doing the analytics and spending some time there, I hate to say it, but you kind of got to fight to get a little bit of back of your control back about who sees your stuff. You don't control that. Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and YouTube control all that stuff. Yep. So that's why I try and get my agents fired up and aggressive about it is, you know, I have a targeted audience. There are certain people that I want to see this stuff. So I need to know. It's not just a want or desire. Remember, we're talking about business stuff, right? Not necessarily your personal posts, but I want to put it in the right people's hands. So those analytics can really be priceless for you, bud.
Yeah, exactly. And oh, you made me think of something. It just flew out of my head. I'll think of it later, I'm sure. Okay, so you got a little sneak peek, but my last tip for you was to be consistent. I also have a class that I just did, that was last month, social media, was all on how to be consistent. So I love this little quote, consistent action creates consistent results, right? Yeah. Business is simple, not easy, right? You gotta just keep going at it, keep doing the same tasks over and over, right? Obviously your words and pictures and stuff are gonna change, but you gotta create those habits. So I do have a video, I can link that to this one as well. But yeah, consistency plays a key role in mastering social media. It's no different when it comes to beating those algorithms. Oh, that's what I was gonna say with David's comments, is that the algorithms are changing. They're not consistent. So you might have to change up your strategy a little bit. Just keep that in mind. That's another good reason to look at those analytics. Okay, fast forward to consistency. So so it's no different when you're beating the algorithms. They want to know that you're sharing your content. The algorithms are going to share your content over others because it's getting engaged with. So if you're not consistent, you're going to lose that engagement, right? So that's why it's important to be consistent. If you're only posting sporadically to your page or your profile, no matter how good the content is, it's less likely that people will engage and interact with it, which means that they're losing views on the algorithm is losing views on its platform, so it's going to stop pushing your content. Does that make sense? Consistent action creates consistent results. It's just like your one thing, right? Get a little bit better, 1% a day. And you want to think about it this way. The day you plant the seed, it's not the day that you eat, right? You keep planting and watering consistently over time and you'll reap those rewards. So
that's important for a fat man.
Oh, Barbara, I just saw your question. What about numbers? Do they matter? Do you mean times a day?
Hashtags.
Oh, actual hashtags.
Muted, yes, hashtags.
I should have known that. I actually have a whole video on hashtags too. It differs on platform, of course. They're popular. Instagram and Twitter are going to be the hot spots for hashtags. I still use them on Facebook too and LinkedIn, and just don't use as many there. They do help get new eyes on you for somebody that's looking for that hashtag. Your content can come up with it. But yeah, I'll throw that video, link that to this class as well. But if you guys go to my, I think it's Let's Talk Social Media is the playlist name on my channel. And I've got I think like a 15-minute, half-hour thing just on hashtags there too. All right, you guys, we really went long today. I'm sorry. We had some great questions. You guys had some great input. I am going to be doing a mastermind next week. It will be hybrid. So those of you in the area want to come in person, we'll be in the training room in Glen Ellen. Everybody else, you're welcome to attend on Zoom. And what am I doing my mastermind on? I don't remember.
What is the mastermind about next week?
That's what I got to pull up let me stop my screen share. I'm drawing a blank. I just sent an email out about it yesterday and I can't think of what it was. Okay, while I'm pulling that up, what other questions do you guys have before we wrap up today? Did I cover everything? Did I give you enough? Did you learn something? What are you going to implement?
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you think some of your top tier agents, like, 100 million producers, like, are they hiring someone to do this exclusively, or like,
Yes.
because we all have this time equation, right? So I'm like, how do I get this done?
I know that a lot of people have like a social media coach. I know a lot of people that have a full-time or a part-time admin that works just for them to do social media. There are people that, if you're going to hire somebody that's going to work for other agents as well, I would recommend doing somebody out of your area.
Yeah.
So not necessarily that the person is out of your area, but that person works with agents in different areas. And that doesn't have to be geographical, but like somebody with a different target audience than you. That would be my suggestion.
Thanks.
David, Amy Stack at etopsuccess.com, etopsuccess.com.
Thanks, Amy. I saw Barbara put a question up above too about what about hashtags? Do they really matter? I know that's a whole nother discussion that would probably take us another hour, but I popped in my YouTube video on the class for that, which I think I gave you guys last week as well.
Oh yeah, I linked you in my video last week.
Awesome.
I don't know, I'm totally blanking on my class. Oh, you know what? I'll just pull up my MailChimp thing. But yeah, so hashtags, they do help. I'm looking through the chat right now. Looks like some thank yous. Oh, Christy. Hi, Christy. All right. Well, I'll send you guys all an email with an update of my class. I don't know why my brain is not working today. Actually, I do. You guys, I sold my house yesterday and I have 20 days to find a new one. So please help.
Oh. I know a guy that can help you with that.
Who has listings coming up in my area?
I didn't know that was why you were renovating the house. I didn't know you were going to sell.
I wasn't planning on it originally. And then you know how the market is. I was like, maybe I should sell my house. Oh, listing marketing checklist. Thank you for hanging on there with me. We'll be talking about your marketing checklist for your listings as a mastermind on Thursday. So what do you always do to promote your listings? What do you maybe want to add some more ideas to it? So thank you for hanging on there with me. My brain was not cooperating. So that's what we'll be talking about in the mastermind. So getting ideas from all over the country, maybe Canada again. And yeah, tune in at 1 o'clock. And if you're in my area, come on over to the Glen Ellen office. You guys will all get an email with the invite, and there'll be a link for Zoom and a link to sign up for in person as well. So that's all I got for you today.
Congratulations on the house.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, terrific.
Scary.
Amy,
Oh,
one last thing.